SLU has believed it and they have lived it.
I mean, coming into the season, SLU and Maryville, they were at the top of the table in terms of our expectations coming in. Maryville had exceeded anything that we had ever imagined with their performance in the NACL and their dominant run in collegiate so far. But St. Louis, they faltered a little bit. You know, they did not look super strong against Maryville in the North Conference Finals. They went down to the lower bracket. And as we head into the draft for game number 4, they have the opportunity to pull off the unthinkable and add the final cherry on top of this beautiful cake.
Same sides. Oh, I love this. Okay, Jinx got left up by MU. So St. Louis bans their own TF to leave both the Jinx and the Varus up. I do think Varus is the better side of the coin, but Jinx has historically been Airren's best champion in his entire career, Grapes. Even back, I think, to the GVU days, back in MEC when you were covering him in 2022, when, I mean, to be honest, Airren seeing a CLOL trophy might have been a pipe dream, and Cubby talked a lot about it in the studio. He has been monstrous in this series, particularly on the Lucian, and now on his signature champion, DARKWINGS on his St. Louis. It's all comfort in Game 4.
That's the power of shifting some of your priorities in the ban phase. You change up the nature of how these drafts end up working. Now, Maryville, they have a very clear identity as this 2-3 comes through. Heavy pressure, heavy poke in that bottom lane. I imagine Scary Jerry opting towards that lethality build. With Zyko on the Ashe, they're going to want to make sure that Airren never has a chance to scale into this game.
Maryville looking to outrange and outpressure. So far, it has been early game that has decided this series. And I think St. Louis, you can't outrange this, right? So you've got to pick champions that can hard engage. Nautilus, a great one. We've seen it a million times. SkyTec, he is a mastermind on those champions. But I think Scary Jerry and Zyko well poised to step up. I will say, speaking of stepping up, you know, Cubby was asked, who does he think on Maryville needs to show up? And he said Niles. I think Niles has had a very good series, even if it was a rough Game 3. For me, it's Spirax. Back in the Ari versus Talia matchup in game number 1, it did not go his way, and I think Spirax has been pretty invisible throughout most of this series, Grapes. He needs to have a big performance here in game 4.
And he's opting into the same matchup that caused his doom in game number 1. DARKWINGS had a great lane, was able to get out and impact the map more than Spirax was able to in that game that allowed for St. Louis to take their first win. We're heading to the second phase of Ban's top laners now the focus, as it's always been, and Srtty and Niles getting targeted a little bit. So the Vayne, Camille, and the Olaf are still taken off the table. So honestly, it's a very similar situation of taking away Srtty's champions because SLU banned the TF themselves.
So the only thing that's really up is Gwen right now that we've seen Srtty play over the last few weeks. Everything else, I believe, is already gone. So more than likely, we're seeing Srtty go a different direction than what we've been seeing. Obviously, I'm expecting Winnie to 4-pick here. The Sejuani was really good last game. Honestly, like, I would not hate it if they went back to that.
A changed man. You were a big hater.
I was a hater.
About an hour ago.
But bro, I saw the light, okay? Like, Winnie, I think he was 100% KP that game. It was, I mean, the best game, obviously, he's played this series.
And hey, you now have a melee champion in the Nautilus. At least one. So it's a little bit better than before. That is a lot of top lane bans. That is all 5 bans for Maryville directed at Srtty.
Ooh.
They're going to opt towards the Cassante. I actually don't hate this. You know why? Because DARKWINGS and everybody else on SLU have really been able to take a big step in this series. Srtty did not have to do a ton in that last game on a hard carry. He can play a little bit more for the team.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked about how well Niles has been doing to neutralize this player. I mean, Srtty was playing for the team on the Twisted Fate last game, and I will say, into the poke that, you know, Maryville is going for right now with the Varus and the Ashe, a big, beefy frontliner is what you like to see. And now you can get Winnie on a playmaker without needing to go to a true tank. Yuuji playing with our heartstrings a little bit. I mean, I would expect a carry here to pair alongside the Ari, the Ashe. You have already got so much setup, right? So surely something that can really pop off.
Would be a lot of ranged champions if that Kindred got locked in. Instead, it's the Viego. This is the mid-jungle that Maryville opted into for game number 1. We'll see if SLU just want to match for match again with Winnie getting this last pick.
So what does Winnie go to here? Xin Zhao still up and available. We saw that, I think it was in game 1 that he played it. Pretty good. It did really well into the Viego. I do favor the Viego side of the matchup, though. Sejuani, I said it earlier. All right, Winnie picking it on R5. He's got the double tanks. St. Louis, a very stalwart composition against what is a pick-poke comp from Maryville. They're going to try to force a 5v5s. DARKWINGS, Airren, you said it just a few seconds ago. They have been enormous in this series, and now they have to be the ones that push St. Louis over the edge.
So with SLU now at match point, they opt for a playstyle that has not worked well for them basically the entire season. It's been Srtty on these big carries, being able to start plays, be in side lanes and cause a ruckus. This is a straight-on 5v5 team fighting composition from SLU. It's a lot of what we saw from them last season when they had Vital and Strumpus in those solo lane positions, and Airren being the main carry.
Yeah, and an insane amount of pressure as well on Yuuji, on this Viego, on Scary Jerry, and Zyko. They cracked under the pressure a little bit at the LAN last year. They have not really won too many championships here with Maryville. They have been runners-up many times, and the ball is in their court. By picking Varus Ash, they are playing towards this young bottom lane, and we know how good these guys can be, but it really is up to them to show up in this game and prove that they can force a Game 5.
We talked about how bot lane pry was going to be a big part of the drafts of this series, and that has been true. Lucian has won all 3 games so far, but as soon as that's taken away, there is now new players involved, new champions for these marksmen to adjust and deal with. Airren on his signature Jinx. We now have Scary Jerry having an opportunity to break him open on the pick that started and sparked that reverse sweep against UST earlier this year.
That is very true. The Varus has been so powerful. Varus Ash, an incredible bottom lane. Grapes, we are on to the Rift. Game number 4, match point for St. Louis University, but Maryville, they might just have something to say about it.
I'm super excited. I mean, this could be the last game of 2024 Collegiate. And what a story it would be. St. Louis University, they have never made it to a collegiate finals before. Only one of their players has ever been to this part of the tournament in their careers. And they have an opportunity to take down one of the titans of the space, the self-proclaimed kings of collegiate.
And it wouldn't just be the first trophy for this program. It'd be the first trophy for every single one of their players. It would be a trophy returning, to the St. Louis part of the world, right? Even if it's not Maryville, like this is a program that, even though it is one of the younger ones, it is built with a lot of legacy and a lot of stories already coming with it. And I mean, St. Louis, they really want to carve their own narrative here today. And DARKWINGS already going to try to get started and pressure Spirax early on.
So this is the first time St. Louis opting for the lane swap themselves. They hid SkyTec and Airren well, so Niles has no idea, alongside the rest of Maryville, that the swap is occurring. Srtty had a little bit of pressure up top. Now he's headed down mid. He's going to roam around, make sure that everybody else on his team stays safe as they try to collect as many resources as they can.
So pretty big here. Yuuji is going to be able to get the Wolves for himself, which means that he might have a bit of a camp advantage when he already starting on the top side. And it's so interesting. I mean, SLU, they've been the ones, we've said it a lot, that have struggled in the lane swap. I think they've done fine with it so far, though, in this series, all things considered. And, dodging out on the Varus Ash lane, this time they're the ones with the Cassante. Srtty really trying to prove that he can play for the team here in this series. And, I mean, as long as SLU can execute on this appropriately, I like this look.
We're getting like Season 5 vibes with a double jungle as well. Srtty's just helping Winnie accelerate his clear as fast as possible, make sure he's out on the map as quickly as can be, making sure that he's able to keep his bot lane safe and make sure that Srtty's able to get as much XP as soon as possible.
And if you're wondering why they're doing this, you talk about going as fast as possible. It's because all these bottom side camps are in danger, right? Because you have 0 priority on the bottom side, so you need to make sure you can clear them out really, really quickly before anything bad happens. You can see SkyTec actually took a reset, so it deposits Srtty down for this bottom wave, and now Winnie and SkyTec are going to be in position to cover him to actually collect most of this experience. Meanwhile, Niles, he's getting a little bit on the top side as well, but I mean, it just does, as you say, put Winnie in just a better position in the game.
And with Yuuji having down towards the bottom side,
they want to go for a gank.
They're going to be in a bit of trouble. Scary Jerry and Zyko suddenly under threat as they pop level 3. Here comes Winnie. They're landing the permafrost on a Scary Jerry flash. Is responded to, but SkyTec stretch line comes out. It is first blood for SkyTec and the Billikens. Zyko, the next on the menu. The permafrost will connect. He does not have a flash. He has no hope in the bottom lane. It's 2-0 SLU.
And Winnie, once again, with the double jungle, calling his shot. It's not a St. Louis University game if Winnie isn't going bottom lane, Grapes, as wow, pulling the trigger. Yuuji not in time to respond. That is a huge look for SLU.
Who will win? 2 80 carries that do tons of damage, or just 3 big ol' meatballs? The answer was the meatballs. In this case, SLU just send all of their tanks down bottom, and they end up with 2 kills for themselves, a 600 gold lead. Airren able to pick up a ton of that CS on the top side of the map, and Srtty going to be able to crash this pick up this huge wave that Niles is crashing in.
For every action, though, there are consequences, and I will say, despite Srtty having more minions to still collect, this is going to be Niles being a beneficiary of this. Srtty dropped a lot of gold and XP going for that play under the bot lane tower. Likewise, Yuuji was clearing the whole time, and Airren didn't really get a CS lead. So it is still some things coming up Maryville, but those 2 kills are really going to be big. If this front line gets too thick, all of a sudden the double reset mid jungle is not going to be able to do a damn thing.
And DARKWINGS, you can see the potential of this matchup again. He's doing a great job pushing up this mid lane and going straight down towards the bottom lane. Remember, no summoners on the Maryville bottom side. SkyTec did go a little bit too far with a teleport in from Niles. It is going to force SLU back and actually allow for Maryville to be the ones to go forward. They collapse with all 5 and get the kill on a SkyTec.
And now it's the captain on the other side, Niles, making an appearance in the bottom lane. Great teleport and flash commit, not wanting to let any move from SLU go unpunished, getting Maryville back into the game.
That's a big kill. It goes towards Scary Jerry as well. You see, actually, he has a lethal tempo build, which means that he'll be going more on hit. He'll be able to melt the front line a little bit better than if he was going for the pure lane lethality iteration of the champion.
Whoa.
And now Srtty looking to try to soak up some more XP. They're fighting for this dragon. SkyTec landing the dredge line onto Zyko, and he's just dead once again. Airren getting in onto the action, and SLU now control the bottom side.
And that might be the most important kill of the game so far, with Airren picking up. Oh, Winnie.
That's actually really big. Winnie goes down
huge.
2 Scary Jerry's piercing arrow, and that means that the Billikens cannot go for the dragon.
Okay, yeah, Jerry really picking one up. Massive plays from him. Yet to find a CLOL title in his career, but Graves, we have seen some incredible things from this player. I think back to the Converse days, where he made that miracle run to top 4. He needs to clutch up just like that. And we can get another look at the play. Srtty teleporting bottom. It's SLU wanting to continue to accelerate the pace of the game and get gold onto Airren. And also, again, progressing the state by taking dragons. The teleport theoretically guarantees it, but Scary Jerry had other plans.
And this is the risk of picking that Varus Ashe bottom lane. Zyko loves to play these engaged champions, right? He loves going in. He loves being an aggressive. After you fall behind a little bit, you're without flash in this 2v2. It just becomes so hard to do anything, and St. Louis have taken full advantage of that.
And look at what Srtty and Winnie gave up to make that play happen. Yuuji's got almost double the camps of Winnie, and Srtty dropped a lot of top waves. Niles was able to hold a really hard freeze. He's down probably more than a level at this point, is Srtty, and MU is actually going to take the dragon. So that piercing arrow completely changing the landscape of this game, keeping MU actually 400 gold in the lead despite the kill deficit, and in an even 1-for-1 neutral objective trade.
Maryville do get the dragon, as you said, and hey, look at the top side at CS as well. Hey, Cubby, this is enough for you? Niles up 25 CS right now over
man,
Srtty.
call him out.
Taking a big step, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, call him out, but yeah, Niles is having a great game. Again, 2 levels up, so more than one. Srtty finally hitting level 5. Zyko and Jerry also zoning Airren and SkyTec off the wave. That is the power of the Ashe Varus. And SLU, they got fancy in this early game, but I almost wonder, Graves, maybe a little too hyphy as Maryville, ever calm, actually able to weather the storm.
They actually have the gold lead at this point, so despite the early aggression from St. Louis paying tons of dividends, Maryville very much still in this game. The CS in the jungle still going towards Yuuji, as Winnie needs to continue to make plays in order to keep this game even.
And I just can't stress how big it is that Maryville got that first dragon. I mean, it's going to be so big, but Graves, I mean, I think it's relatively slow. St. Louis likely not to go for any plays for the time being, Maryville likewise. So, I mean, we can really take a step back and, you know, start to talk more about these players, right? Because, you know, we said Spirax needs to step up in the series. Again, it's been a game not really about him that much, just kind of going even with DARKWINGS in the mid lane so far. Neither mid laner actually really able to get involved, but it was in the team fights where I wanted more from Spirax on that RE last time. I think, you know, still obviously room to do that so far.
And I think now, with Jerry on the on-hit Varus, with a little bit more damage and a little bit more frontline as well, here with Niles on the Poppy, Spirax will have more opportunities to be the playmaker instead of trying to be the one to really take over the game. And I think that should be good for MU. We see Yuuji looking around the bottom side, but anywhere that he goes, Winnie is there to match and make sure that Airren is not ever in trouble.
But Yuuji's just so far ahead. Fortunately, Winnie is at least level 6, so it means he can have impact. Yuuji wants to fight him off the control ward as the Ashe arrow comes through.
Yeah, there's the Enchanted Crystal Arrow combined with the Chain of Corruption. That's a lot of CC, and Winnie still remaining alive with the Aftershock on top of him.
No way!
Allows for Airren to get the kill on a Yuuji.
How do they get away with that? Now Jerry, did you overstep?
He tried to find the miracle snipe, and he might be in trouble himself. Pops the ghost, a nice flash from Zyko to keep his AD carry alive, but he will be the sacrifice as Airren is now on a killing spree.
Fighting mid, though. Fighting mid. DARKWINGS has the ignite, and he's on a Spirax.
Pops the Weaver's Wall as well. That's up for a little bit. Looks like not much is going to happen in the mid lane, but that is such a huge play for St. Louis University. You could take a look at how it started, and Scary Jerry thought he could find the snipe on the Winnie, and ended up leading to his support going down.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry, it was a little bit of desperation right there, I think, trying to find the snipe. I will say there's a hero play from Zyko. They're going to slow it down so we can see the flash to take the hook for his AD. It also critically prevents a shutdown from going over as well, which Jerry has one on his head. But Airren is 3-0-0. He has been monstrous in the series and all CLOL long, all year long. Airren has been a different player to the one that we used to see out of him. And you have to credit his improvement, his hard work, the coaching staff, everyone, and now he's in prime position to carry this game.
And I mean, this means so much for a player like Airren. I remember hearing stories after Grandview barely missing out on top 8. I mean, they apparently sat in their chairs after losing, and Airren was very, very upset with all of that. And now, the amount of growth that he's taken, he has the opportunity to get all the way to the top of collegiate.
And as we've seen, you know, Cubby, been talking about A for Airren and entertainment, right? Like, this is a player that has always worn his emotions on his sleeve. He's always, you know, been very outspoken throughout his career. And so to see him playing like this, again, still has to be able to close the door, finish the job, right? But Kraken Slayer completed, up CS over his opposite number. This is everything you could want if you're a Jinx.
Got the full Kraken Slayer compared to just some components for Scary Jerry. If Airren just gets one reset, things are going to look good for SLU, and they have so many tools to get that first kill. It is a story of resets on both sides, though, as Yuuji is the one ahead on Maryville side. And so it's kind of a question of whoever gets that first kill, that is really going to decide some of these mid-game teamfights.
This is good stuff, though, from SLU. They know that Jerry is the strong one, and if they can continue to deny him the DPS from Maryville, really just suffers, and there's not really any sort of counterpunch. I mean, Yuuji was on reset, now forced to cover late. They want to go for the play.
Yeah, they're going to try to force this. They land the Chain of Corruption onto Airren as well as SkyTec. Here comes Yuuji as well with the hollowed miss. Going to flash forward, not find the stun, but Scary Jerry with the empowered piercing arrow will get the kill onto SkyTec. Airren forced the flash away as well. A great play for Maryville. They respond well down bot.
Really big play. Yuuji had to find that kill, missing the stun, but Jerry does not miss with his arrow, getting a third kill now for himself. Battle of the AD carries continuing. Airren losing Flash, I think, might even be the bigger story. Keeps the gold close, and it keeps the next fight challenging for SLU.
When he's still in the area, as the Dragon has spawned, remember, Maryville got the first one, and that allows for them to be in a great position if they are able to take this one down as well. Without Airren's flash, with SkyTec going down, they're actually going to look for the fight, and Airren finds the kill with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Here comes Niles. He teleported in, he dashes forward, finds Srtty on 2. SkyTec will fall. Look at Winnie on the backside. Airren's got the reset, and St. Louis are sending Maryville straight into their own base.
Airren's
a double kill for Yuuji, but it's a triple kill for Airren. Can he find any more? Spirax the next target. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and he will find the hard place himself under the tower. That is the 4th kill of this fight for St. Louis, and they're looking for Niles as well.
Here comes Srtty.
All Out already popped. Niles in a lot of trouble. Enchanted Crystal Arrow buying some time. It will mean the Poppy lives, but SLU will even up our Dragon count at 1.
And 6-0-1. Airren finding 3 more kills in that fight as a Winnie as well. He's got nearly 100% kill participation on the Sejuani. Maryville, their championship hopes and aspirations perhaps dwindling as they find themselves in a 1,500 gold deficit 13 minutes into the game.
And it really felt like this was Maryville's year. We could take a look at this fight as well. They just overcommitted a little bit, and Scary Jerry being the first to fall was just the dagger into the heart of Maryville.
And watching a fight like this again, it's getting to the point where if you're Maryville and you cannot find Airren, the fight is lost. Srtty's teleport positioning was brilliant. It completely removed the escape path from MU, and all Airren had to do was right-click to win the fight.
Grubs will be picked up here by MU. That evens the count up at 3. Still a close game. Less than 2,000 gold separates our two teams. However, all the gold's in the right place for SLU. I mean, if Airren just continues to play the way that he does, it's going to be really hard.
And it's so difficult for MU too because their gold is also on their ADC, but SLU's front line is way stronger than Maryville's. So you don't really have a good target to go for as MU, and it just leaves you a little bit out of options. MU going to be forced to rely on their macro, overloading towards certain sides. For example, top lane to take down a Rift Herald. They should get the tier 1 as well. Srtty only going to be able to trade back a tier 1 of his own.
Relatively even, but Maryville finding angles and finding spots of space where they can. They get the Rift Herald, mid lane, probably where they're going to place that without a turret in the top side of the map. And there's not a ton to fight over at this point. And so for both of these teams, it's about resetting, making sure all your summoners are up, because that next dragon fight could be a very, very decisive one.
Definitely could be. All the summoners, except for DARKWINGS Flash, I believe, going to be up for that one. For SLU, everything else for Maryville should be there, so it will be a tense fight. But as you say, we've got a long way to go until then, Grapes.
Oh, it's nice to have some quiet in here now, isn't it?
We calm before the storm,
yeah.
You know? We talked about this in game 1 as well. We get to take a deep breath before the plunge.
When will that plunge be? We're expecting it at least around that Drake. However, we see Yuuji making an aggressive posturing towards the bottom side. That's another tower that could be taken down with the help of Spirax. Rift Herald in his hand. They're going to place it down here. And Srtty's going to have to be very careful or else he'll be in trouble as well.
And Maryville's doing the right thing because SLU's game plan from this point, right, is just wherever Airren is, it's winning. And wherever Airren's not, it's less winning, right? And so Maryville knows this. As long as they can just continue to spread the map, Airren can only be at one place at any given time, and it's probably mid. So if you're able to play on sides, it at least forces SLU to spread out and doesn't allow them to deathball over you.
Oh, that dredge line nearly connected as well. Zyko could have died yet again. Finally has both of his summoner spells up, and he's still just under such a consistent threat from everybody on SLU.
You gotta feel for Zyko this game. 0-4-4, but I'm gonna be honest, I think he's had a fine game on this Ashe. He's just been getting picked on so much, and I think forced to pay the price for some of his team's mistakes. No flash on DARKWINGS here, though.
Just misses him as Niles gonna go forward. Yuuji finding the engage as well. DARKWINGS will go down. They're gonna give the kill to the NACL MVP. Yuuji getting some gold.
Just a little overextended there for DARKWINGS. No flash. Actually, maybe had it at the very end. Either way, Yuuji expending his. I think ultimately it's fine. It's a kill. It's not a shutdown. It doesn't really disrupt your control over the game that much. In fact, SLU clearly still feeling confident enough to flex their muscles.
You know, unlike some of the other games and compositions that we've seen, even though Maryville have a ton of hard crowd control, right? It's all skill shots. You have the Chain of Corruption, you have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and you have the Charm coming out from Spirax. If they don't find like a flank onto Airren, even though they have tools to finally potentially get a first reset for Yuuji, it's going to be so hard for Maryville to get into a team fight that they like.
And again, I'm looking towards this mid jungle. I want to cast our minds way back to before Airren was popping off on Lucians, and same with Scary Jerry and Zyko, and all the way to the beginning when we said this series would be about mid jungle. And Yuuji, he's got the gold right now, and Spirax, he has the backline access. They have got to find the play onto Airren that MU needs, because we said it earlier, if you can't get this Jinx or at least force him to stop hitting, it is completely cooked for your squad, and I do think it comes down to these two guys to try to find him.
It's going to be a tough task. I mean, despite all the synergy that those two players have had together, there's not just a lot of tools in their arsenal right now to go for a player like Airren, especially with that cleanse and his flash both up.
And no flash for Yuuji. And I will say, you know, these are storied players, some of the best that we have in North America. I mean, Yuuji and Spirax are considered two of the best players that we have outside of the LCS in this region. But I will say, Grapes, they've not really won any championships together. They have come very, very close. But, I mean, they have, if they're going to win their first one, they've got to prove that they can right now. I mean, we've been saying this all about a lot of guys, but I mean, so many people needing to step up. Ashe Arrow comes out. I think SkyTec's fine.
Chain of Corruption as well. It will land on the SkyTec. Look at Spirax. He's on the flank. Does not land the Charm. Airren still remains alive with just that cleanse being burned. DARKWINGS now in trouble. He has the flash as well. But look at Srtty in the middle of the enemy team. He finds the Pathmaker and will yeet Spirax all the way into the enemy team. There comes the Spirit Rush. It is enough for Spirax to survive for now. And St. Louis do not have the gap closed to continue the play.
You know what, though? I asked for Spirax to step up, and he did get Airren's cleanse, but nothing more. MU have the health bars, have the positioning over to the Dragon. I think it is a fight win for them.
They're going to get the advantage here. The Mountain Dragon is secured. Airren still has flash, though. I mean, that's just, I'm still thinking about it. That was the dream setup for Spirax in the situation that Maryville are in right now, and they still did not find a kill.
Yeah, and Spirax lost his. I mean, DARKWINGS losing his is big. You can kill the Talia, but again, it's all about that Jinx. Now Airren back out onto the map. I think SLU should just be able to knock down this mid lane tier 1. Maryville had to reset at some point, but SLU with first move. Okay, maybe not. Spirax, he's got a lot of wave clear.
Yeah, the Ahri doing a lot. Still, in this game, just have not found that breaking point, the ability for him to really take over this game just yet. Not a ton for Maryville to do. They seed pressure top lane, allow for DARKWINGS to get that tier 1 turret. And St. Louis is not in a position to go for this Baron, so they are just going to have to wait things out once again.
And I think the game is going to continue to be slow because St. Louis, with their composition, even though they have a lead, don't really have any reason to accelerate the pace of the game unnecessarily. Honestly, the ball is in Maryville's court to be the ones making the plays, and we've seen them also rather content to just play for these neutral objectives. I will say, I mean, that fight around Dragon, being able to take the Drake and lose nobody in this game state is very important. Avoiding the fight with the Jinx is very important.
They find a cancel on the SkyTec. Not going to be enough for them to re-engage. Chanted Crystal Arrow does come out. I like that Maryville are still looking for these plays, and as you said, Hawk, it's finding picks with the tools that they do have available. Niles on the aggression as Maryville are pushing up onto the mid lane tier 1. SkyTec goes in with that depth charge, and Niles is left out to dry. He's blocked away by the Weaver's wall, and Srtty, DARKWINGS, the one to finish it off.
And we've actually seen this from Maryville multiple times. One of the weaknesses that this team has is they just, when it feels like they don't know what to do, they group up on a mid wave and try to hit the tower. And part 1 of that is okay for SLU to respond to you, but part 2 is not. You just cannot walk up to the tower in that situation. DARKWINGS chain CC down, killed off easily, and it just ends up being a freebie over to SLU.
Not the game breaker, right? But it's definitely not making things easier for Maryville.
And it just, again, it just feels like Maryville a bit at a loss as to how they need to progress this game. We literally saw this against FlyQuest Challengers in their NACL finals defeat as well, among other times. This has been something that's team, you know, hey guys, let's just group up on a mid-wave. It doesn't always work, right? And I mean, credit to SLU for how they were able to punish that. Ultimately, though, it is just a kill. As you say, it's not game-breaking. 2,000 gold is the lead.
But SLU's in a good position, right? And what it would mean for not just the players on this stage, but the program as a whole. We got the chance to talk to Chu and Clerky before this series began, and you know they're very close, and they were the ones to lift each other up in the space in Missouri. But Chu really mentioned how much he wants this win, and it would be such a great moment if he finally is able to achieve it.
Yeah, you know, once you were the teacher, now I am the master, something along those lines. Is Chu Darth Vader and is Clerky Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Oh my God.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful.
Well, Maryville, they don't have the high ground right now, I will say.
They do not have the high ground, yeah. That's problematic.
And the underdog still ended up winning after that. Arrow comes out again. Nice block by Winnie to make sure that Airren is not in any trouble. Once again, he has both of his summoners up. Maryville forced the cleanse out earlier, and they were not able to do anything about this Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, everything's back up. Spirax the only one really without flash, and Niles, actually. And again, it's a slow game. Grapes, I have a feeling we're going to fight for this dragon in 1 minute and 20 seconds. Like gentlemen, lined up as 5, ready for a team fight. Looking at the item spikes, Jerry has 2, and so does Yuuji. That is big. Unfortunately, Airren is well on his way to 3. DARKWINGS also having 2, meaning that there's not really an advantage to be found anywhere here for Maryville.
I do think Scary Jerry is in a really good position right now, though. He has 2 items. He has both of his summoner spells. The Ghost in these fights to allow him to maneuver around enemy champions a little bit easier is going to do a ton, especially at this power.
And I believe this is pre-nerf Ghost as well. I think it was also 13-10 where it got sent down to 10 seconds. I want to say it's still 15 on this patch. Honestly, I would need to be fact-check on that. But yeah, I mean, it really does give so much maneuverability, especially when most of the lockdown for SLU is skill shot based, except for really the depth charge.
It's going to be tough to find that engage for both teams, really. I mean, so far, SLU have been the one to pull the trigger a little bit easier because they have Winnie and SkyTec and they are in the gold lead. But as this dragon spawns, it is St. Louis gathering control around the pit.
Yeah, and so St. Louis, they're playing second hit on mid, but they're controlling the river for it. MU forced to overcommit onto the mid wave. They're going to be the ones walking into SLU as a result, but with the priority on the wave, it does mean SLU will be a little bit slower on the collapse. MU understanding that they don't want to walk face first into Casante.
Nice charm, but Srtty's tanky. He will be able to escape with still about 75% of his HP bar as the dragon spawns. Maryville looking to find maybe a flank of some kind. They see Spirax on that vision, and now Niles is the target.
No flash.
Only on the Srtty, and here comes the engage.
No flash.
Still untouched. There's the Glacial Prison locking down the back line of Maryville, and they will go down. picks up a yet another shutdown, and St. Louis have the numbers advantage. Spirax continuing to try and rain in as much damage as he can, but it is not enough to stop the might of the Billikens.
Yuuji dies, but Maryville still strong enough to prevent a Baron from going down, but this is going to be another Mountain Dragon. It's not even close to any sort of soul, but it stops Maryville in their tracks, and it's even more control going the way of the Billikens.
They continue to find these marginal leads here and there. Zyko running around just to make sure that there's enough vision on the Baron,
looking for him.
so they cannot take it. Srtty now is on a mission of his own. Can he lock down the Ashe? It looks like he will not after burning that TP.
Yeah, Srtty TP'd. I think he was looking for Zyko, but obviously not able to find him. Big that Zyko's able to escape. SLU, though, going to control the Baron area. I don't think they want to start this again. I mean, that's the one way you throw this game, is get Airren caught in a bad position like the Baron pit with no way out. That could be the way that Yuuji and Spirax find him. I think the critical thing for Maryville is they didn't lose any major summoners except for Zyko's flash, but honestly, that one probably doesn't matter. If he gets CC'd, he's dead anyway, right? So the bigger ones, though, SkyTec's flash, not available for the engages, no ghost for Srtty.
St. Louis, though, they're still in such a good position. Airren still have both of the summoners. DARKWINGS has the splash as well. The amount of space that SLU has been able to build with this alternate team composition. Remember, this is not something that they are, super familiar with, at least in the games that we have seen them play on stage. And they're executing brilliantly right now, making sure their backline carries are just able to take over this one.
Airren has 3 items on this Jinx. I mean, usually this is the item spike that you talk about for this character. And he's turbo fed even before getting there. 7-0-2, and yet again, we've kept saying it, the game going to slow down. We have another deep breath. They are really just not wanting to make the big mistake that potentially costs the entire series.
It is so tense right now. You can feel it in the faces of the players that are on that stage right now. Their entire season, their entire careers even for some of these players, leading up to this decisive moment. Spirax going to go aggressive onto DARKWINGS. They have a little bit of reinforcements arriving, but it's just going to be that 1-for-1 for now. Nice charm lands, but it will not be enough to finish the job.
I'm really surprised that DARKWINGS flashed there. I wonder if he thought more members of MU are coming or what, but that's Spirax forcing a big cooldown for very little investment. And that is definitely something we're going to have to keep our eyes on. Spirax has been pretty good about doing that so far this game. It's been a couple times. He's gone on to DARKWINGS, and, DARKWINGS has respected it maybe even a little too much.
It's been okay so far, and the biggest thing, he has the Unsealed Spellbook. He can continue to cycle those summoner spells. It feels a little bit better to, not have that flash because you have other summoners that you can turn to. He's gone for a barrier. We remember how important that cleanse was in game number 1, Hawk, and so you could be a little bit more aggressive. That's just kind of the nature of this playstyle, but still a pretty big cooldown. And I mean, the problem is there's just no easy engage for MU. Even though DARKWINGS has no flash, who's getting onto him?
Yeah, it's just so difficult. But I mean, Grapes, you talked about players spending their entire seasons on this. For SLU, they had some real heart-to-heart team building moments, right? After their losses to Maryville, to St. Thomas, right almost when they lost to Ole Miss, they really, as a team decided, hey guys, this is our shot. We got to lock in, or we're never going to get this again. And it's paid so many dividends, and for Maryville as well. We know how hard this team has worked over the entire year, both here and in the NACL.
Engages here between the tanks, at least so far. Chain of Corruption does land on SkyTec, and that's a big kill for Scary Jerry and the rest of Maryville. Now in a 5v4, Yuuji with the stolen Nautilus body looking to go forward as well. Niles flashes over into the Baron pit. Winnie's in trouble. Maryville trying to turn this game around. They land the charm on Airren, but he's just forced to cleanse. The health bars are low. Spirax is almost down, and Srtty looking to chase the rest of MU down.
Does SLU want this one reset from Airren, and they might all be cooked? Maryville, they need to regroup. Okay, and SLU not going to give chase. It's the mid lane tier 1 instead on the menu. And unbelievable, Maryville finds 2 picks, and instead they're the ones losing out on the play. Force the TP back in, and force onto the Baron.
Oh, this is desperate right now for the Saints. They're on to the Baron Nashor. They have the numbers advantage with Winnie down for 10 seconds. SkyTec is alive, but it's going to take a while for him to get back here.
Burning down.
Airren is so strong. We've seen Jinxes and Baron pits before. Will we see the same thing again? There's Srtty, buying space the Pathmaker. Will the Baron go down? It's secured by Yuuji and Maryville. But look at the health bars. They are so low, but Srtty does not take one down before falling. Maryville get a huge play, and they secure the Baron Nashor.
Maryville potentially saving their season by securing that Baron and not giving Airren a reset, a game of inches. But they played the line beautifully, and Airren denied Maryville in control.
And we're right back into a close game. Look at the gold right now. Less than 1,000 separate these two teams, and now it is Maryville University holding that Baron buff, and they have a ton of outer structures to take down to add to their gold lead.
Yeah, it's going to feel so good for this team. Again, Grapes, potentially the first ever grand final best of 5, or 5 game on the line here. If Maryville is able to close this one out, they need to use this Baron to get the gold back, because I will say I favor the scaling on the side of SLU. They still have this Jinx threat. I think the Mountain Soul might be where this is decided. Maryville, I mean, if you can get like a 4,000 gold Baron power play off of this, be up by about that much, maybe that puts you in a winning position around that Soul fight if you can secure it. Might circumvent the scaling that SLU has.
I do think St. Louis overall throughout the series have done such a good job at preventing Maryville's Barons from really impacting them to a certain degree. However, a large part of that was Srtty side laning and the ability for them to clear waves out in multiple areas at the same time. Now with this 5-man composition, Maryville have the opportunity to split things up, sync up these waves, and make sure at least a couple of these objectives fall.
Yeah. I mean, we said that Srtty needs to be a problem in these games, and he's been fine on the Cassante, you know, but he is not this ever-present problem that Maryville has had to deal with, and I do think we're seeing some of that. I mean, again, all of Maryville, rather SLU's wins have come from that big side lane threat. Whether or not Srtty's having a good game, it's just the existence of him. Even when he got shut down in Game 1 against UST, he still became big on that Camille. Even when he got shut down in Game 2,
look at top lane,
right? It just always happens. Srtty's not doing the same thing today.
It thought it was a kill onto Srtty, but instead he pulls out the Grand Ol Uno reverse card and makes sure Niles will go down. The whole squad's up there to make sure Maryville's captain falls as St. Louis find another kill.
Maryville is pushing in bot and mid though, and I think they took both the tier 2s off the play. So ultimately, Maryville is going to be fine with the play, but Niles, we've seen it a couple of times this game, caught too far forward with no one to help him. I think critically though, Yuuji is level 16. Grapes, he is 3 levels up on Winnie. I mean, this Viego is so strong. Has an anathemas, probably just for the Jinx, so we can try to take him down.
I mean, like, Viego is such a strong champion. We've seen Yuuji be so good on it, specifically in that Game 1. He was a big reason why Maryville started to turn that first game around before SLU ended up taking control again. You just need that reset, though. And it's so hard in this full front-to-back to find it, because if you're not going on to Airren,
Yuuji.
I mean, the rest of the tanks are just going to be able to hold the line just incredibly well.
That was a touch-and-go moment right there. Yuuji not burning anything to be able to walk away from SkyTec's hook right there. Spirax pushing in top lane. 2.5 minutes from this Dragon. About the same. Actually, the Baron and the Dragon are 1 second desynced on the spawn. We'll have to see what the priority is, because I think contrary to some of the games we've seen earlier in the season, Grapes, both these teams have immense Baron threat. We already saw how quickly Maryville was able to burn it down, and similar story for SLU. I mean, Taliyah and Jinx, if they're both hitting that Baron, it will get roasted.
I mean, Maryville, they were able to fight back a little bit around that Baron pit in the past. Just not against the 7-0 Jinx with a 1,000 gold shutdown, 4 completed items. I mean, you can name off how powerful Airren is in so many different ways, and it's just still yet like not enough to describe the amount of impact that a player like this has had. And it just suits us so well that the rest of the desk, studio, they built up Airren and his performance so far in this series, because he is looking like that crown jewel here in this game 4.
I think an underrated part of that gold graph, though, that we just saw, I think DARKWINGS was the second richest person in the game. It was like him and Jerry. So DARKWINGS actually quietly in a really good spot. He's about on par with that Varus, and same with Spirax. They're actually all in that area. It's just Airren being 2,000 gold ahead of them. So that is crazy.
I mean, it means that a lot of players are really strong. It just one is maybe a little bit stronger at this point. This is one of the closest games that we have had, and it comes at such a decisive point. It is still less than 1,000 gold lead, and things are going to break open a ton once these major objectives spawn.
Grips, I feel like right now, we're like a dam, right? And there's water just mounting pressure behind us. I mean, I honestly, like, I don't even know what to talk about. We know how hard, how strong SLU is right now, right? It really just is Maryville dancing around the Jinx. SLU trying to find their fight.
And suddenly, Scary Jerry's at 4 items as well. We talk about how rich these players are. The marksman battle will be close enough as long as that first reset doesn't happen. It is who sheds blood first that I think will decide if we're headed to Silver Scrapes or if it'll be the Billikens hoisting that trophy.
Oh, that's a good spot from Srtty. He's in
Big
there.
engage actually as well. Srtty gonna get one shot almost immediately, but he pops the all out, escapes, and will survive.
Oh,
Even Srtty knocks away 2. Here comes Spirax and Maryville have a numbers advantage. They go towards SkyTec. They find the first reset, and Scary Jerry picks up the gold.
And it was said, Niles needs to step up. How about that keeper's verdict? Most certainly saving the fight and allowing Maryville to burn down the Nautilus. And now SLU in the 4v5, they're in danger of losing a Mountain Soul.
It's going to be one or the other, assuredly, as there is still less 25 seconds on SkyTec's death timer. Could be both, potentially. You see SLU posturing around the top side of the map. They want to make sure that that Baron does not go down. Instead, we see another skirmish as DARKWINGS goes forward. He lands a shot onto Zyko, and they get the kill. And now, Airren looking to go forward. He's excited on the Jinx, but he's a little bit too far away. Now it's a 4v4 with SkyTec about to respawn.
Pulling the dragon. Zyko dead for so much longer, though. If they can just buy time for SkyTec to come back up. Now, I will say, Airren, no cleanse. He's about half HP, trying to lifesteal off that dragon, but look at Spirax's position. He wants to find the Jinx.
There is no cleanse on Airren right now. He can be vulnerable. They go take a big chunk onto DARKWINGS, but Spirax is now very, very low. St. Louis now stacked up as 5 as SkyTec rejoins the fight. Here comes Winnie.
Here they come.
Forward onto Yuuji. Level 17, but is he strong enough? There's the Glacial Prison, and Yuuji will go down. St. Louis stop the soul, and they will get the Mountain Drake.
Graves, I think that's going to be the Baron. SLU moving towards it. They can push out the mid wave. Niles running bottom. There's no teleports on the side of Maryville. Yuuji dead for 40 seconds. St. Louis University potentially with a chance to close out the series.
There is no chance for Maryville to contest this objective. Scary Jerry still very far away from the Baron pit. And with this double marksman, or with Airren, I should say, alongside DARKWINGS, it will be the Baron power play going the way of the St. Louis University Billiken.
Completely equalized. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
They got Airren. Can Spirax get him?
He has flash still. SkyTec actually staying around to make sure he can keep his ADC alive. Spirax using the Spirit Rush. He knows that this could be the play. Airren gets hit by the charm, and he's going to get one shot. 1,000 gold into the back pocket of Spirax, and they're looking for more. Dashing forward still with another proc of that Spirit Rush. The rest of SLU will make sure that he does not find another.
But that is huge, Grapes. It not only delays the Baron power play by 50 plus seconds, that's 2 waves, but Spirax 1,000 gold back into his pocket, putting Maryville on top with the gold advantage, completely denying the advantage that SLU had just built.
What is it with these game fours, man? This entire tournament long, whether it was Winthrop St. Clair, Northwood Fisher, and now here in the grand final, St. Louis versus MU.
You said that Maryville would not go quietly into that good night. We thought once Airren got 6 kills in the early game that it might just be a wrap. But here we are in game 4, 37 minutes into the game with no winner in sight. Again, the first ever grand finals game 5 potentially on the line, but St. Louis maybe with one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen on the cards as well.
And now we wait. Look at those timers again. It's just time to sit back, and this is again another such a crucial breaking point. Both sides have 3 dragons. The next Drake to fall will be that Mountain Soul for one team or the other, but again, gonna spawn at a very similar time to when that Baron does come up.
And Spirax has bought a Medjai's. 8 stacks only on it, but he's gonna try to stack up that AP. He's 4 items with that Medjai's if you count it. Scary Jerry on his way to full build. Everybody's strong. I mean, at this point, Grapes, honestly, gold be damned. Everything else out the window. It only comes down to execution and looking at what's available. They want to find Niles.
Might have been caught out. The Glacial Prison and the depth charge comes out, and Darkness is a beautiful Weaver's Wall to prevent the rest of the team from following up. The seismic shove comes through, and Airren gets the kill onto the Maryville captain.
And with the Jinx resets as well as the Baron still in hand, SLU, they have potential to barrel down the mid lane. Maryville, they have to defend in a 4v5 to save their season.
The middle lane inhibitor will surely fall. Spirax looking for a miracle flank with Srtty still pushing along the bottom lane.
It will not lead to the
middle inhibitor as Spirax will now be careful with Airren unlocked with that excited reset. They're still looking potentially. Can Spirax potentially go down? He will be able to survive as SLU will back away.
Srtty escorting up that bottom wave. I think that's the next one that SLU wants to play on. Not much time though left on the Baron, means it might just be one inhibitor going over, but Niles once again caught out trying to win his first CLOL championship in 5 years. You cannot afford mistakes like that.
Thankfully, only costing them that inhibitor. It could have been so much worse if the right cards ended up falling for the former wild card players on St. Louis's side. Instead, we get to wait again. It is just one more kill onto Airren. He has completed his full build with a Bloodthirster and will soon to be matched by Scary Jerry.
I mean, once they start getting maxed out again, it doesn't even matter about gold. It's about what was burned. Niles flashed in that fight. Not going to have access to that. Meanwhile, SLU basically lost nothing other than a Glacial Prison. So favorable for them being able to deny that Summoner in Grapes. We are going to have our 7th Dragon spawning on Summoner's Rift in under a minute. SLU has complete control over the area with that inhibitor down, and giving over a Mountain Soul to this Jinx, that might be lights out in this game, because it makes it so much more difficult to kill him, as well as this beefy front line.
I hate to be a traditional sports guy, right? But 7th Dragon's like Game 7, World Series, NBA Finals. It all comes down to this final potential fight. And everyone knows, we know as League of Legends fans as well, it does not matter what else has happened in this game. They're going to start it out with the engage onto SkyTec. The Weaver's Wall buying a lot of space. They find the engage on the Spirax. They look for the engage. There's the kill on the Spirax. He's missing.
Airren's on the fight.
SkyTec on the other side. Airren gets pushed away by the Keeper's Verdict, and now Maryville can find the resets.
Niles, once again, he gives SLU an advantage, and then he saves the game. Punting Airren out of the fight, not allowing the reset, and somehow Spirax survives by the skin of his teeth. And now, SLU, once again,
oh, they got Jerry! DARKWINGS with the seismic shove proc to GA. SLU will collapse on top of him, but the flash away is going to just buy mere seconds. Scary Jerry goes down, and Airren is excited, pushing down mid.
Jerry got caught!
Another one!
DARKWINGS!
With a Talia pick. We talked about it at the start, and we're going to talk about it at the end. Finding the kill on the Niles.
Airren!
Spirax, and there's the game. The Saints come marching into Boise, but it's the Billikens that come marching out with their heads held high. Little brothers no more. They pull off the upset of all upsets, the lower bracket run of all lower bracket runs, and St. Louis University are your 2024 College League of Legends champions.
And the celebration on stage, the players jumping up and down, elation, tears of happiness, commiserations to Maryville, but St. Louis University, no one expected it, but they came in and did the impossible anyway. What a show.
And look at the rest of SLU. They're surrounding their captain, their leader, Winnie, and what it means for a player like that. 5 years ago, he lost to Maryville in the grand finals, and this year he ends up on top.
I mean, he called his shot. He called his shot after winning lower bracket finals, said, I lost to Maryville once, I'm not going to lose to them again. And Winnie, I mean, I asked for him to step up in that game 3, and he played out of his mind in both game 3 and 4, leading his team to victory. DARKWINGS, he was given a job that was contain Spirax. I think he was the better mid laner in this series.
And it came down to that last fight as well, right? We talked about his job, according to Deus, win the mid lane, and DARKWINGS did more than just that. He won the deciding team fight to give St. Louis University their first ever collegiate championship. I mean, what a moment. You can see right there as well the bond between Clerky and Chu. These are guys that started these programs from the ground up. Chu got help from Clerky, and now here he is at the top of the hill.
I mean, only 5 other programs have ever won CLOL championships. Winthrop, UCI, UBC, St. Thomas, and of course, Maryville. St. Louis joining an incredibly elite group, winning their first one. They have well and truly joined the ranks of the elite here.